You are wasting half your life on work that does not matter. It's not because you're lazy or you lack ambition, but because you've been trained to mistake busyness for business and simple activity as actual achievement. If you don't stop this cycle right now, you will burn out, you'll resent the business that you built, and you'll never reach the level of impact that you were born to make. Look at Mark Burnett. He's one of the most successful TV producers in history. He created Survivor, The Voice, Shark Tank. He's won 4 Emmy Awards, 4 People's Choice Awards. Most people think someone like that must work 20 hours a day, never sleep, and sacrifice everything to win. But Burnett's success didn't come from doing more manual labor than everyone else. It came from ingenuity. He understood that you have to stop trying to be the person doing the hard work in the trenches and become the person designing the platform. He realized that the labor does not equal value. He leveraged systems, teams, and media to multiply his effort. He didn't just work hard, he built a machine that allowed his ideas to scale globally without him having to turn every single screw himself. Now, I know this trap well. When I was 19, I was part of a biotech software company. I thought the secret to success was suffering. Thought if I wasn't bleeding for the business, I didn't deserve the win. I was making $300 a month. I was eating bean salad every day because it was the cheapest food that I could buy. I felt like I was trying everything, but nothing was working. I felt useless. I wanted to quit. I told my partner that I quit. I looked at my partner and told him that I couldn't do it anymore. But I woke up one day, the next day after I told him I quit, and realized that I just couldn't quit it yet because I would regret it. So I decided to stop trying to invent the path myself. I looked at Bill Gates. I asked, how did he build Microsoft? I saw that he used partnership deals. So I stopped doing all the busy work I thought I had to do, and I just focused on partnerships. And that one shift saved my business. It took me from struggling to surviving to closing deals with major clients. Now you might be thinking, okay, Evan, but I have to grind. I'm just starting out. I don't have a team. I don't have money. I have to do everything myself. And yes, just recognize that's the voice of fear that is keeping you small. You don't need a team to be efficient. You need strategy. You need more time. You need focus. The belief that you have to do everything is exactly why you're here stuck doing everything. So here today are the 10 laws of productivity that will let you cut your work time in half while doubling your results. If you've been here before, drop a hashtag Believe in the comments below so I can feature you here in a future video. And if you're new, welcome to Believe Nation, the only channel that helps you believe in yourself daily, one video at a time. Believe. Law number 1, the law of immediate action. You have to stop getting ready to get ready. So the biggest lie that you tell yourself is that you need more information before you start. You buy the books, you watch the videos, you listen to the podcast, you feel like you are working. You feel productive. You get a little hit of dopamine every time that you learn a new hack or a new strategy, but you're not producing anything. You're stuck in a trap of passive learning. Real productivity is not reading about efficiency, it's doing the work. So there's a rule called the 5-minute rule. It says that the hardest part of any task is just starting. It's the activation energy. In physics, Newton's first law says an object at rest stays at rest. You are the object. You are heavy. You are stopped. To get moving takes a massive amount of energy. But once you are moving, it's easy to stay moving. So you need to lower the barrier to start. Tell yourself you're only going to work for 5 minutes. Trick your brain. And once you start, you'll keep going. So when I get an idea, I don't wait. I don't put it in a file to think about for 3 months. I act. When I wanted to write my book, Momentum, I didn't plan for it for a year. I got the idea and I started writing immediately. I wrote the book in 5 days. Not because I'm a genius writer, but because I didn't give myself time to doubt. I didn't give myself time to research. How do I write a book? I just started. Stop consuming, start creating. If you catch yourself reading another article on how to be productive instead of doing the thing you know you need to do, just stop, close the tab, do the work. Law number 2, the law of the miniature model. So you're trying to build the whole castle before you have laid a single brick. This is the planning trap. You have a big vision. You want to change the world. I love it. You want to build a massive app or a huge company. So you spend weeks or months or years planning every detail. You try to solve problems you do not even have yet. You're wasting your time on what ifs. What you need to do is start with a miniature model. You need a proof of concept. And so in the software world, we don't build the whole operating system at once. We build a tiny piece, then you test it and you see if it works. If you want to build an app, don't spend 6 months writing a business plan. Spend 1 or 2 hours researching if the app already exists. Spend 1 day building a very simple version of it. You start small. When I started my YouTube channel, I didn't have a strategy to get to 4 million subscribers. I didn't have a team. I didn't have fancy lights. I just wanted to help people. I made videos that were terrible. I was shy. I was sweating. I was introverted. I can't even watch them back. But I started. I made a small video. Then I made another one. If you try to plan everything, you will be paralyzed by the size of your own dream because you're thinking so big. So shrink the scope. What is the smallest possible version of your idea that you can execute today? And do that. It cuts out the noise. It cuts out the speculation. It gives you data that you can start applying right now. Law number 3, the law of daily momentum. You cannot win if you stop every few days. Consistency beats intensity every single time. If you work on a project for 10 hours one day and then you don't touch it for a week, you have lost. Why? Because when you come back a week later, you have to spend hours just remembering where you were. You have to load the project back into your brain. You've lost the context. You've lost the flow. But if you work on a little bit, every single day, even just for 30 minutes, you keep the momentum. You keep the project alive in your subconscious. So it works like compound interest. It seems small at first. You think, what can I do in 30 minutes? You can do a lot if you do it every day for a year. You're keeping the background processor of your brain running. Even when you're sleeping, even when you're eating, your brain is solving problems for that project because you touched it today. This is how Jerry Seinfeld got good at comedy. He wrote the joke every day. He put that giant X on his calendar. His only goal was not to break the chain. When I was building my channel, it took me 5 years to get a few thousand subscribers, right? It was slow. It was painful. Most people would have quit. The only thing I had going for me was that I just didn't stop. I kept uploading. I kept going. I didn't need to go viral. I just needed to not stop. If you want to work 50% less, stop starting over. Keep the engine running. Law number 4, the law of routine architecture. So you're wasting your energy deciding when to work. Willpower is a battery. You wake up with a full charge. Every decision you make drains that battery. What to eat, what to wear, which email to answer, when to start the big project. By the time you actually sit down and do the important work, your battery is empty. You're tired, so you go to YouTube or Instagram instead. You need a routine that automates your behavior. So look at Haruki Murakami. He's a famous author. When he's writing a novel, he wakes up at 4 a.m. He works for 5 or 6 hours. In the afternoon, he runs or swims. Then he reads. He goes to sleep at 9 o'clock. He does this every single day. He says the repetition is a form of mesmerism. It puts him in a trance. You need to design a routine that protects your energy. So for me, Tuesday is YouTube day. I don't wake up on Tuesday and ask, what should I do today? I know what I'm doing. I'm filming. It's on my calendar. I don't have to use willpower to decide. I just execute. I start every morning with what I call a belief walk. I wake up. I put on my earbuds, headphones. I listen to Steve Jobs or Howard Schultz. I let them talk to me. They remind me of what is possible. They remind me of who I want to be. I don't leave it to chance. I engineer my environment to force me to be productive and think bigger. If you want to work less, stop wasting energy on decisions that should be automatic. Law number 5, the law of simplicity. You are making things too complicated because you're smart. Smart people love complexity. You see a problem and you want to build a perfect, intricate system to solve it. You want to account for every edge case. You want to use the fanciest tools. But complexity is the enemy of execution. Complexity breaks. Complexity requires maintenance. Complexity takes time. You need to apply the KISS principle. Keep it simple, stupid. Also known as Occam's razor, the simplest solution is usually the right one. If you can solve a problem with a spreadsheet, don't build a custom app. If you can solve a problem with a phone call, don't build a giant funnel. When I started branding myself, I struggled. I had too many ideas. I wanted to help entrepreneurs with marketing and sales and raising capital. It was too much. It was messy. Then I found one word, believe. That's it. One word. It simplified everything. Everything I do, every video, every book, every speech filters through that one word. It makes decisions easy. Is this about belief? Yes, do it. No, don't do it. Stop adding layers, strip them away. What is the core value? Do that and ignore the rest. Also, if you want to take real action after this video, I made a free worksheet just for you. It covers the top lessons from today, gives you space to write your biggest takeaways, and helps you build a simple action plan. It's 100% free. Just click the link in the description and go grab it. I'll see you there. Law number 6, the law of automation. You are doing work that a machine should be doing. Machines are for working, humans are for thinking. If you're spending your day copying and pasting data or sending the same email over and over or manually checking for errors, you're wasting your human potential. You are a being, not a robot. And you are a very expensive, very slow robot. You have to delegate the boring stuff to technology. So in coding, they use continuous integrations, a system where the computer automatically tests the code every time a human writes it. The human doesn't have to stop and check. The machine does it. This frees the human to focus on the creative problem solving. So for you, this might mean scheduling tools. It might mean setting up filters in your email. It might mean using AI to help you draft content. I have a team now, but before I had a team, I used tools. I scheduled my social media posts, and I didn't sit there on Twitter all day long. I scheduled it out. Every minute you spend doing a repetitive task is a minute you are stealing from your future. So automate it. Law number 7, the law of the knowledge multiplier. You think you don't have time to learn. You're wrong. You don't have time not to learn. Productivity is not just about speed, it's about insight. So if you try to solve a problem with brute force, it might take you 100 hours. If you read a book by someone who has already solved that problem or watch a video, you might learn a trick that lets you solve it in 10 hours. That book or video just saved you 90 hours. That is a 10x return on your time. Knowledge is a multiplier. So when I started my business, I didn't know how to sell. I was scared. So I read, I studied, I learned. I didn't try to figure it all out on my own. I looked for what worked for others. Most people stop learning as soon as they get busy. They say, okay, I'm too busy working to learn or to read, to watch videos. That's like the woodcutter saying, I'm too busy chopping wood to sharpen my axe, right? You're chopping with a dull blade. You're working harder and getting less and less done. You need to feed your brain. You read books, you watch educational videos, you study your craft, you avoid blind decisions. Don't guess, know. Law number 8, the law of deep work. Your phone is destroying your dreams. You cannot do high-level work if you are interrupted every 4 minutes. There's a concept called attention residue. When you switch from writing a report to checking a text message, your brain doesn't switch instantly. Part of your attention stays on the text message. It takes about 20 minutes to get your full focus back. If you check your phone every 10 minutes, you never, ever reach peak performance. You are operating at 20% capacity. You need to break the habit of constant connection. You have to protect your time. You have to create walls. So when I'm in my deep work mode, I'm unreachable. I'm not checking comments. I'm not checking email. I'm creating. That is how I'm able to produce so much content. It's not because I type faster, right? It's because I don't stop typing to check a notification. Turn off the notifications. Put the phone in another room. Close the tabs. Give yourself the gift of focus. You'll be shocked at how much you get done in 2 hours of uninterrupted time. It's worth 8 hours of distracted time. Law number 9, the law of purpose and stamina. You're tired because you're bored. Fatigue is not always physical. Often it is emotional, it's spiritual. And when you're doing work that doesn't matter to you, you get tired fast. You drag your feet, you procrastinate, you end up in quadrant 4, right? Doing things that are not urgent and not important, like watching TV or playing games, because you're trying to escape. You need a clear purpose to drive you. Stephen Covey talks about this. You need a personal mission statement. You need a North Star. When you know why you're doing the work, you find energy you didn't know you had. My purpose is to help entrepreneurs believe in themselves. That wakes me up. That pushes me through the hard days. But you also need physical stamina. You cannot work 50% less if you are sick or you're exhausted or running on sugar and caffeine all the time. Your brain is an actual physical organ. It needs sleep, it needs food, it needs exercise. If you cheat on sleep, you will pay for it in stupidity, right? You make bad decisions, you will work slower, you have to redo things over and over again. Maintain your machine, define your purpose. That is the fuel. Law number 10, the law of early planning. You lose the battle before you even step on the field. Most people start their day by checking email. They start their day on defense. They let other people dictate their priorities, right? You spend the whole day putting out fires for other people. You need to plan early. You need to start on offense. Before you start working, you need to know exactly what you are doing. You need to break the big, scary projects down into small, manageable phases. If you want to build a mobile app, you don't just sit down and code, you plan. Which platform, iOS or Android? What are the features? You map it out. It prevents scope creep, where the project keeps getting bigger and bigger until it just crushes you. So I use my calendar. If it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist. I plan my days, I plan my weeks. This eliminates the stress of, what should I do now? I already decided what I should do. Now I just have to go and do it. This keeps you out of quadrant 1, the crisis mode. If you plan, you don't have crises. You just have tasks. Own your time. Productivity is not about becoming a robot. It is about becoming free. It's about respecting your time enough to stop wasting it on things that do not matter. You have the potential to build something incredible. You have Michael Jordan level genius at something, but you will never find it if you are buried in busy work all day. So apply these laws, reclaim your time, pour that time into your passion. And congratulations, you're one video closer to who you're meant to be. Believe. Now let's learn some science-based strategies to learn faster and retain more. Your ability to learn faster than everyone else will make or break your success. If you're not deliberately training yourself to learn quicker every day, you're falling behind. Most people coast on outdated study habits and it's costing them opportunities. If you don't fix how you learn, you'll keep forgetting critical lessons, repeating mistakes, and watching hungrier competitors speed past you. There's a famous story. 2 lumberjacks have a contest to chop down trees. One hacks away nonstop, sweating buckets. The other stops every so often to sharpen his axe. By the day's end, the one who sharpened his blade easily outcuts the other. The lesson: sharpen your tools, sharpen your mind, and multiply your results. Even Abraham Lincoln supposedly said, "Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe." Learning smarter is how you sharpen your axe as an entrepreneur. For me, this lesson hit early. I was a kid hiding under his desk in school because I couldn't understand what was going on. I had an undiagnosed hearing problem. I literally couldn't hear the teacher, but I thought I was a problem. I thought I was stupid. My grades were terrible next to my straight A sisters. My parents even sent me to a child psychologist at age 8. Eventually, doctors discovered I had fluid in my ears. They put tubes in and suddenly I could hear clearly. And in my final year of high school, with the encouragement of an amazing French teacher who finally made me believe in myself, I transformed. I went from B's and C's to graduating with straight A pluses. Sometimes it really is just one little change, one mentor, one strategy that makes all the difference. I wasn't dumb. I just needed the right fix and someone to show me what was possible. Now, you might be thinking, this sounds great, Evan, but I'm running a business here. I don't have time to play around with fancy learning techniques. I just get things done. Or maybe you're thinking, I've never been a good learner. I'm too old to change now. Or this stuff might work for students, but not for me. And I hear you. And you're wrong. If you don't have time to learn how to learn, then you're guaranteed to waste 10 times more time down the road fixing avoidable mistakes and struggling to keep up. As an entrepreneur, you can't afford not to sharpen your axe. And you absolutely can become a better, faster learner. Your brain is not fixed. It's a muscle that grows with practice. So we're gonna lose the excuses, at least for this video. I'm gonna show you exactly how to revolutionize your learning. And by the end of this video, you won't just be learning faster, you'll start seeing yourself as a learning machine. So let's do it. Today, I'm gonna break down the 7 science-backed strategies that will help you learn faster and retain more, starting now. Strategy number 1, test yourself. Don't just reread. The first strategy is this: active recall. So test yourself instead of passively rereading or listening. This one change will skyrocket how fast you learn. Here's some science behind it. When researchers compared passive review to active recall, the difference was staggering. Students who quizzed themselves on materials remembered about 57% of it, while those who just reread and highlighted remembered only 29%. That's almost double the retention by testing yourself. Active recall can literally boost your performance by around 20% or more. So that's not some tiny tweak. It's a huge leap. Most people feel busy when they're just reading notes or watching videos, but feeling busy is not learning. Highlighting a page or nodding along to a podcast gives you the illusion of knowledge without the actual substance, right? You've done this. You've read something 3 times and think, yeah, sure, I've got this. Then a day later, you barely recall a thing. It's because recognition feels like understanding, but it's not. Your brain only truly learns when it has to retrieve information with no hints. So think of your memory like a muscle. Reading is watching someone else lift, but active recall is you lifting the weights. It hurts more, it's harder, and that's exactly why it works. So every time you struggle to remember something, you're strengthening that neural connection. So how do you do it practically? After you consume any learning material, a book, an article, a course, YouTube video, pause and close it. Quiz yourself. What were the key points? How would I explain this to a friend? Write down everything you remember from memory. That struggle you feel trying to recall is real learning happening. You can use techniques like the blurting method. You just jot down all you can remember on a blank page, or the Feynman technique where you explain the idea as if teaching a total newbie. When I prepare a speech or video, I don't just read my notes silently. I practice out loud and test myself. I'll literally recite key ideas in the shower or quiz myself during a walk. And if I stumble, that's good. It shows me what I haven't learned yet when the stakes are low. You need to embrace the stumbles during practice so you don't stumble when it counts. And remember, input is not the same as output. If you can't output the knowledge by recalling it or teaching it, you haven't really learned it. So start testing yourself and you'll cut your learning time because you'll know exactly what you know and what you still need to work on. No more fooling yourself by saying, yeah, I read that chapter, I'm good. Prove it to yourself. It might be humbling at first, but it will make you learn way faster. Strategy number 2, space out your learning. No more cramming. The second strategy is to space out your learning. So don't cram all at once. Spread it over multiple sessions or days. This is called spaced repetition, and it's one of the most powerful learning phenomenon ever discovered. Here's why it works. When you first learn something, your brain starts forgetting it almost immediately. In fact, almost 100 years ago, psychologist Hermann Ebbinghaus mapped out the forgetting curve. It shows that memory of new information drops off steeply in the first 20 minutes and continues falling within hours. That sounds depressing, but here's the key. Every time you review or practice that information again, especially after some time has passed, you interrupt the forgetting and reinforce the memory. Repeated spaced exposure essentially bends that forgetting curve so you retain far more over the long term. So think of it like you're planting seeds. If you dump a gallon of water on a plant and then ignore it, it'll drown and then dry out. But if you water it a little bit every day, it grows strong. Your memory works basically the same way. In one example, a learning expert noted that in just 4 months, practicing 30 minutes a day with spaced repetition, you could learn and retain 3,600 flashcards worth of content with 90 to 95% accuracy. That's an insane amount of knowledge locked in, and it's because of consistent spaced practice. Meanwhile, cramming might give you a short-term rush, but a week later, poof, it's all gone. And we've all crammed for a test and then forgotten everything. Spaced learning might not have that all-nighter adrenaline vibe, but the results last a lifetime. Now, as an entrepreneur, spaced repetition can be your secret weapon. You need to remember what you learned from your books and your courses, your own experiences, even your mistakes, the YouTube videos you watch. So build a simple system to revisit knowledge. This can mean reviewing your notes weekly, using a flashcard app for key concepts, or deliberately scheduling practice of a skill throughout the month. When I learn something, say a new strategy for social media or a speaking technique, I'll circle back to it regularly. I don't just use it once and then forget it. I'll revisit that lesson next week, next month. And each time I find I understand it deeper and it sticks even more. So let me give you a quick story. A few years ago, my wife Nina and her friends invited me on a snowboarding trip. I had never snowboarded. I was a decent skier as a kid, but snowboarding was totally new to me. The first time down the hill, I was terrible. I was embarrassed. I kept falling. I couldn't carve. My legs were burning from the effort of just not tumbling over. I felt like I was holding everyone back. Now, I could have done what most people do and spend one exhausting day on the slopes, maybe take a lesson, and then give up until the next trip months later. And predictably, I would suck again. Instead, I decided to apply spaced practice. After that humiliating day, I went home, and for the next several weeks, I practiced every morning on a tiny local hill near my house. No big crowds, no pressure, just me and this one other older guy who was there every morning, both of us quietly doing our thing. I fell 30 times a run, trying to get the turns right, but each day I fell a little less. I trained my muscle memory day by day. After weeks of daily practice, I went back to the mountain with my wife, and this time I could keep up with them. They were shocked at how much I'd improved. That's the power of spacing your practice and persistence. So whatever you're trying to learn, whether it's mastering sales calls, you're learning coding, you're trying to speak a new language, don't binge once and drop it. Schedule it in chunks. Even 15 to 30 minutes a day of focused learning will crush a 7-hour cram session in effectiveness. Trust the science on this. Your brain will thank you, and you'll actually remember what you learn. Strategy number 3, prioritize sleep. Seriously, sleep on it. This one might surprise the hustle culture crowd, but sleep is non-negotiable for learning. If you want to learn faster and remember more, you must prioritize sleep as part of your strategy. Think of sleep as the time when your brain hits save on what you learned. Pulling all-nighters or burning a candle at both ends doesn't make you a hero, it makes you slower. Neuroscience is super clear on this. When you learn something new, your brain needs sleep to properly encode and retain that information. Dr. Matthew Walker, he's a leading sleep scientist, says sleep after learning is essential to help save and cement that new information into the brain. Without sleep, those new memories are like wet concrete that never gets to set. They remain fragile and easily wiped away. In fact, if you try to learn on no sleep, your ability to absorb new information can drop by up to 40%. Imagine losing almost half your learning potential just because you skimped on sleep. That's huge. You can't brute force your way through that. So no amount of willpower or coffee can overcome a 40% deficit in brain power. As Dr. Walker bluntly puts it, you can't pull an all-nighter and still learn effectively. And it's not just about memory. Sleep helps you make creative connections and find solutions too. You ever heard the phrase sleep on it? It's real. While you're snoozing, your brain is busy replaying and organizing the day's information, linking new ideas to existing knowledge, and even improving skills that you practiced. Studies show that your performance on tasks like playing a melody on piano can actually improve after sleep without further practice. Skip sleep and you skip that whole process. Now, I know as an entrepreneur, it's tempting to cut sleep when you have a million things to do each day. And early in my career, I tried that grind of late nights and early mornings thinking I was getting ahead. What I got was foggy brain and a habit of forgetting important details. Now I guard my sleep like my life depends on it because my business brain definitely does. I aim for 7 to 8 hours sleep. I'll choose sleep over answering a few extra emails at midnight because I know tomorrow my brain will operate at 100% instead of 60%. And I get more done in less time because I'm well rested. So, action item. Treat sleep as a part of your learning protocol. Schedule your learning or practice sessions around a good night's sleep. So, for example, if you want to retain something, study in the evening and then get to bed on time. You'll remember it far better in the morning. Likewise, if you have a big day of learning ahead, make sure you slept well the night before. This isn't being lazy, it's actually being smart. The science says that memory consolidation, that's the process of solidifying what actually happened, happens during deep sleep. And if you consistently cheat yourself on sleep, you're consistently shooting yourself in the foot when it comes to growing yourself and your business. And one more thing on sleep. Lack of sleep doesn't just hurt new learning, it can also erase what you thought you knew. Have you ever felt brain dead in a meeting after too little sleep? It's real. You literally can't access some of the knowledge in your brain when you're exhausted. So do not wear sleep deprivation as a badge of honor. High performers in any field, sports, business, creative work, they know the value of recovery. Your brain is your number one asset. Give it the rest it needs to perform. Strategy number 4, do one thing at a time. Kill multitasking. So here we want to laser focus on one thing at a time. If you're trying to learn while multitasking, you're checking emails, you're bouncing between tasks, you're letting notifications interrupt you, you are sabotaging your learning. And I know entrepreneurs, we love to think we can juggle 12 things at once, but science is crystal clear on this. Multitasking is a myth, and doing it makes you dumber and less effective. So this is a slap in the face statistic. Rapidly switching between tasks, what most people call multitasking, can cost you up to 40% of your productive time. Imagine 40% of your day, poof, gone, wasted, because you kept context switching. Even crazier, in tests, this kind of behavior temporarily dropped people's IQ by 10 points. That's more than the cognitive knock you take from smoking some marijuana. So if you pride yourself on being a great multitasker, I hate to break it to you, you're really priding yourself on being 40% less effective than you could be. And when it comes to learning, the toll is even worse. One expert in cognitive psychology, Dr. Tomasz Chamorro-Premuzic, noted that one of the biggest pitfalls of multitasking is lower retention of knowledge. Of course it is, because if your attention is split, nothing fully sinks in. Your brain needs focus to transfer information from short-term memory into long-term memory. Distractions reset that process. So if you ever read a page of a book while also half listening to a conversation, then realize you had no idea what you just read. That's what we're talking about. You were physically looking at the words, but your brain wasn't encoding any of it because it was toggling between different inputs. I had to learn this the hard way too. In my early days of building my business, I would try to learn new skills or work on important problems while also keeping my email open constantly. My phone was buzzing, 20 browsers tabs opens. I felt like I was being productive. After all, I was doing a lot, but I was doing everything poorly. I read the same paragraphs over and over because I wasn't fully there. I'd watch a tutorial video while also answering messages and later wonder why I couldn't remember the steps from that video. Now I've adopted what I call monotasking. So if I'm learning or working on something critical, everything else is off. Phone is on, do not disturb, emails are closed, team knows not to interrupt me during my learning block unless the building is on fire. Right? I literally schedule deep focus time on my calendar. And you know what? In 1 hour of true focused work or study, I accomplish what used to take me 3 hours of scatterbrain multitasking. So here's what you can do. Create a distraction-free zone for your learning. Even if it's just 20 minutes of reading or practicing a skill, make it 20 minutes of pure focus. That's it. Put your phone in another room or use an app to block social media, close all your unrelated tabs. If you're at home, tell your family or roommates, hey, I'm offline for the next half hour. It might feel weird at first because you're so used to being constantly available to everyone, but guard that focus time fiercely. It is sacred time for your brain. In that focused state, you'll enter a flow and actually absorb the material or master the skill much faster. Researchers say that even a brief interruption like a text ping can derail your train of thought enough so that it takes several minutes to get back on track. So imagine what constantly glancing at your phone is doing. Don't do that to yourself. Single tasking, monotasking, it's a superpower in a world of constant distraction. If you do this, not only will you learn faster, you'll also produce higher quality work, and bonus, you'll feel less mentally exhausted because switching tasks drains your energy. When you focus on one thing, you actually end the day less tired with more accomplished. Quality over quantity. Focus over frenzy. It's a game changer. Strategy number 5, embrace the suck. Adopt a growth mindset. So let's talk mindset quickly. To accelerate your learning, you need to embrace the suck and see yourself as a work in progress. So you adopt a growth mindset, the belief that you can improve through effort, mistakes, and feedback. This isn't meant to be a motivational talk. It's backed by decades of research. Dr. Carol Dweck at Stanford proved that mindset about learning literally affects how much you learn. If you think your abilities are fixed, like I'm just not good at X, you'll avoid challenges, you'll give up easily, and basically stay bad. But if you believe you can grow, you will embrace new challenges, you will persist longer, and ultimately achieve much, much, much more. It sounds almost obvious, but so many of us secretly carry limiting beliefs about our own potential. Every master was once a disaster, right? The people who learn the fastest are usually the ones who are willing to look stupid for a while. They're okay with being the worst in the room because they know that's the price of admission for growth. I try to live this. In fact, one of my personal mottos is expect to suck at the start. So when I try something new, I assume I'll be terrible in the beginning. And that's okay. It frees me to actually focus on learning instead of protecting my ego. So, personal story that I hope drives this home for you. When I started my YouTube channel, I was not a natural on camera. Far from it. I was an introvert who didn't even like being on camera. And here I was trying to make videos to help entrepreneurs. My early videos, let's just say they sucked. I could barely watch them without cringing. In an interview I did, I talked about this, that it took me 350 videos until I wasn't completely embarrassed for myself and 700 videos until I inspired myself. That's not a typo, right? 350 videos before I felt even halfway okay about my skills. And by the time I hit 700, I finally made something I thought, hey, that was actually pretty good. Most people would quit after 5 videos that got no views or 50 videos that felt awkward. Like I felt like quitting plenty of times. I used to beat myself up in those early days. I wanted to be great out of the gate. I thought I could be a B- level YouTuber immediately, but reality was I was F level at the start. And because I expected to be at least B-, every video that turned out F made me question myself. At one point, I mentally quit, thinking I'll never be good on camera. But then I realized, no, this is just part of the process. I decided to expect to suck. I'd literally told myself, okay, you're terrible right now. So what? That just means you have a big opportunity to improve. Let's keep going. I stopped demanding perfection from myself and started demanding persistence. So if 40 people watched a video, I told myself, maybe one person's life was changed by that video. So it was worth it, and I'll get better next time. This mindset saved my YouTube career and allowed me to eventually reach millions of people. It will save you in whatever you're trying to learn too. When you catch yourself saying, I'm just not good at this, add one word, yet. I'm not good at this yet. Replace I can't do this with I can't do this yet. It sounds like a small tweak, but it changes everything. Suddenly your brain goes from a brick wall to now it's a door. It's open. We can go through it. Neuroscience backs this up. When you believe effort will make you better, you actually engage more deeply and learn more each attempt. So when you think you're just innately bad, you don't even try as hard. Like, why bother? You just suck at it. And you learn less. It becomes a self-fulfilling cycle. So break the cycle. Give yourself permission to be a beginner. Seek out challenges that make you feel clumsy or dumb. Those are the ones that will actually create the most growth for you. So, quick example. I once took a hot yoga class with my wife. I was the worst student in the room. I was falling over. I could barely do the poses. While these yoga veterans around me are like graceful swans. I don't know how they're doing what they're doing. And I loved it. I'd rather be the absolute worst in a class of experts than the best in a class of beginners. Why? Because when you're the worst, you have the most to gain. So adopt that mentality. Don't avoid the stuff that you suck at. Seek it out and attack it with curiosity. Every failure, it's just data. It's feedback telling you what to improve on. As long as you learn from it, it's not really failure at all. It's just a stepping stone. So ask yourself, where are you holding yourself back because you're afraid of being bad? Decide to embrace being bad. You will accelerate your learning like never before. And ironically, you'll become good at that thing faster than you thought possible. Sucking at something is the first step to being sort of good at something. So keep going. Strategy number 6, teach what you learn. Turn knowledge into belief. So the 6th strategy here is to teach it as soon as you learn it. This is one of my favorites. If you want to truly understand and remember something, turn around and explain it to someone else. Or if no one's around, explain it to an imaginary audience, to your pet, to the mirror, I don't care. Just teach it. Why? Because teaching forces you to consolidate and organize your knowledge in a way that passive learning never will. Research has a name for this. It's called the protege effect. When you expect to teach something, you learn it more effectively. In one study, students who were told they would have to teach the material to others recalled more information, organized it better, and remembered the important points more than the students who were just told to take a test on it. And here's what I love the most. None of them actually ended up teaching. The mere expectation changed how their brain absorbed the information. So think about that. If you approach learning something as if you'll have to teach it, you'll automatically go into a higher gear. You look for key points. You seek understanding instead of just rote memory. You fill in the gaps proactively. You engage in what scientists call deep processing. So by teaching, you're basically tricking your brain into learning more deeply and quickly. On top of that, when you teach, you will quickly find out where you are confused. You've probably experienced this. You think you get something, but when you try to explain it, you go, well, actually, I'm not sure how to put this. Teaching shines a spotlight on the fuzzy parts in your understanding. That becomes gold because then you know exactly what you need to review or clarify. It's like having a built-in knowledge scanner that highlights the missing pieces for you. This has been a huge part of my life. People often ask why I share so many videos with advice and lessons from others. Do I do it just to help the audience? And absolutely. I love helping Believe Nation. You guys are awesome. But here's a secret. I'm helping myself too. By teaching ideas from videos I watch or books I read or interviews I do, I'm reinforcing those lessons in my own mind too. When I profile a famous entrepreneur or talk about 10 rules of success from Steve Jobs or Elon Musk, I'm effectively reteaching those principles to myself. And that means I'm absorbing them on a much deeper level than if I just read them or watched them and moved on. Explaining their rules to millions of people means those rules now become a part of me. And that daily input and output built my belief and knowledge base. So every video I make, and this is not only helpful to you, hopefully, it cements the lessons in me too. And you can do the same thing without having a YouTube channel. Make a habit of sharing what you learned. Did you read a great book? Teach a core idea to a friend over coffee or record a voice note to yourself, summarizing it. You're learning a new technique? Explain it to your team at work. Even better is teach it as if you're teaching a complete beginner. Simplify complex ideas into easy language. That's the Feynman technique in action. And it's magic for solidifying knowledge. If you can't break it down simply, you probably don't get it yet. So go back and fill in those gaps and then try teaching it again. And one more quick hack. You can start a journal or blog or YouTube series where you teach your future self. After you learn something, write a quick entry as if you're instructing someone else on it. And I like to do this on a smaller scale. I write notes for my videos or speeches in a way that I'm talking to someone about it, not just bullet points. It makes a difference in recall. So remember the old saying about the learning pyramid, that we retain 90% of what we teach and only 10% of what we read. Now, the exact percentages on that pyramid are debated, but the concept holds. Active learning methods, teaching, doing, beat passive ones, reading, listening by a mile. When you teach, you're not only transferring knowledge, you're transforming it into something that lives in your own words and your experience. And the most beautiful part, when you teach, you also start to embody the identity of a knowledgeable person on that topic for yourself. You're not just someone trying to learn marketing, you're someone who can teach marketing. See how that boosts your confidence and belief? You carry yourself differently, and that motivates you to learn even more. So from now on, every time you learn something useful, ask, who can I share this with? How would I explain it so that they really get it? And it might feel awkward at first, but do it anyway. Share on social media, share it in a group. Share it with one friend. Don't hoard knowledge. Use it and spread it. In the act of teaching, you'll find the lessons sticking to you like glue as well. And strategy number 7, take action, learn by doing fast. Taking action immediately on what you learn is critical. And so in entrepreneurship especially, learning by doing is the fastest way to go from theory, ideas, into reality. You've got to move from the abstract to the concrete as soon as possible. This not only reinforces what you learned, but it also exposes you to nuances and lessons that you never get just by sitting and studying. So there's an old Chinese proverb, I hear and I forget, I see and I remember, I do and I understand. And so research backs this up. When scientists look at people learning a new skill, they found that the group who actually practiced the task had way more brain activity in regions related to skill and performance with fewer errors compared to the group that only watched the task being done. So the observers barely activated key parts of the brain and made more mistakes when they finally tried the task themselves. So observation alone was not enough. Physical practice was required for the brain to really encode the skill. To quote the lead researcher, observation cannot replace physical practice in learning a new skill. So you can watch all the tutorial videos in the world or read all the articles and books, but until you get your hands dirty, your retention and understanding will be very limited. And I see this all the time with new entrepreneurs. They'll read 50 books on starting the business, but they haven't actually started anything. They have tons of knowledge that isn't quite real to them because it's not yet applied. The first time they try to implement, they realize, oh, this is harder than it looked on paper, or I didn't fully get that concept until I had to actually use it. So here's how you can start to implement this. Whenever you learn a new concept or skill, ask yourself, how can I use this today? Even if it's something that theoretically you won't need until later, find a way to practice it or experiment with it right now in a small way. If you're learning a new marketing strategy, pick one of your products and spend an hour applying that strategy in a mini campaign. Or you're studying a programming concept, awesome, write a tiny program that uses it. If you're watching this video about learning strategies, as soon as this video ends, pick one strategy and do something with it. So for example, take the worksheet that I talked about, right? And actually write down an action plan. There, that's 2 strategies in one, action and teaching by writing. The longer you wait to apply knowledge, the more it fades and becomes theoretical again. Motion creates emotion and it creates long-term memory. So when I read a great business book or I get advice from a mentor, I immediately look for opportunities to apply it in my business or life that week. If I learn a better way to communicate with my team, I'll try it in our next meeting. If I pick up a tip for productivity, I'll experiment with it the very next morning. It does 2 things. One, it solidifies the lesson in my mind because I've now experienced it and not just read about it. And 2, I get feedback. I see what works. I see what doesn't work. And I learn even more from doing it. So it becomes this virtuous cycle. You learn, you do, you get feedback, and you learn deeper. By taking action, you also create momentum. You overcome the inertia that plagues so many people who know but don't do. Knowledge sitting in your head with no use is actually a burden. It makes you feel guilty or overwhelmed, but knowledge put into practice immediately turns into results and confidence. You start to trust yourself as someone who applies things, not just stores things. And guess what? That identity motivates you to learn even more because you know it's going somewhere. So don't be afraid of doing it wrong. This loops back to embracing the suck. Your first attempt implementing something new will be clunky. That's fine. You will learn way more from a sloppy first try than from endless perfect planning. I like to say version 1 is better than version none. Get a version out there, whatever it is, a first draft, a pilot test, an awkward trial run. You can iterate and improve it, but only if it exists in the real world. Action is where theory becomes tangible and where true mastery is born. So those are 7 strategies, but remember, Knowledge alone is not power until it is applied. We just talked about that. Learning how to learn is the ultimate meta skill. It makes every other skill easier. Imagine the advantage you have in business if you can pick up new technologies, new market insights, new skills twice as fast as your competition. It's massive. As Darwin said, it's not the strongest or the smartest who survive. It's the ones most adaptable to change. Learning is adapting. Bet on yourself and invest the time to sharpen your axe, because when you do, nothing can stop you from cutting through whatever obstacles stand in your way. Now let's learn the 7 morning habits that can change your life instantly. You might be sabotaging your success every morning without even knowing it. Billionaires have specific morning habits that set them up to win each day, and chances are you're not doing them yet. If you want to achieve billionaire level status as an entrepreneur, it starts with how you begin your day. So let's dive into the 7 morning habits that billionaires swear by so you can start adopting them too. Are you ready to upgrade your morning routine? Let's go. Habit number 1 is wake up early consistently. Do you hit the snooze button? Billionaires don't. Nearly half of self-made millionaires in one study woke up at least 3 hours before their workday began. By contrast, only 3% of low-income earners did the same. Waking up early gives you a massive head start. It's quiet, it's distraction-free, and it's time you can use to invest in you before the world wakes up. Take Sir Richard Branson, for example. He rises at 5 a.m., no matter where he is in the world. Why? It allows him to exercise, spend time with his family, and get in the right mindset before business begins. As Branson says, exercise and family time put me in a great mind frame before getting down to business. I like to wake up early so that I can work through my emails before most of the world logs on. That early start gives him an edge. So here's your action step. Start waking up even just 30 minutes earlier than you do now. Use your time for your growth, as we'll cover in the upcoming habits. Gradually push it to an hour or more. Consistency is key. Waking up at the same time each day trains your body and builds momentum. In my book, Your One Word, I talk about the power of defining a single core value. Use your extra morning time to focus on your core value or mission. This will give you a why that makes getting out of bed easier. Remember, the early bird catches the worm. Billionaires catch the worm and conquer the whole farm by breakfast. Habit number 2, exercise and move your body. Your body is your engine. Billionaires treat it that way by making morning exercise non-negotiable. Back to Richard Branson, worth over $4 billion, says the secret to his productivity boils down to 2 words: work out. He claims regular exercise is a tool that doubles his daily productivity. It boosts his energy and focus for the rest of the day. If a billionaire running 400 plus companies can make time to break a sweat each morning, so can you. Science also backs us up. Morning exercise floods your brain with oxygen and releases chemicals that improve your memory and concentration. Even a quick 20 to 30 minute workout will get your blood pumping and your brain firing on all cylinders. Bill Gates starts many days with cardio exercise, often on the treadmill while learning via video lectures. Oprah Winfrey does regular morning workouts, ranging from hiking to strength training to stay in peak state. These leaders know that a healthy body equals a more effective mind. Now, don't worry, you don't need to train like an Olympic athlete. Just get moving. Do some stretches, do a quick run, yoga, hit the gym, or even take a brisk walk. Consistency matters more than intensity. As I often emphasize, building momentum is critical. By exercising each morning, you create momentum of positive energy that carries into your work. You will feel more confident, alert, and ready to tackle challenges. Plus, exercise is a natural stress reliever. So here is your action step. Pick a form of morning exercise that you enjoy or at least can tolerate and schedule it in. Even 15 minutes daily is a great start. Over time, you can ramp that up. Treat that appointment with your body as sacred. Remember, you're not just working out, you're sharpening your biggest business tool, yourself. As the saying goes, take care of your body. It's the only place you have to live, and it will reward you with sharper focus and higher output all day long. Habit number 3, practice mindfulness or meditation. Stressed out about the day before it even begins? Billionaires calm their mind first thing. Many credit meditation or mindfulness practices as their secret weapon for their success. Hedge fund billionaire Ray Dalio, who's the founder of Bridgewater Associates, says, "Whatever success I've had in life has been more due to my meditating than anything else." This man manages billions of dollars, and he gives a huge amount of credit to daily meditation, which was 20 minutes in the morning and again later in the day. It helps him stay calm, think clearly, and make better decisions under pressure. What's so powerful about mindfulness? By taking even 10 minutes for quiet reflection, you train your brain to handle stress and chaos without panicking. Studies show that practices like transcendental meditation can significantly reduce anxiety and stress, and even improve your mental health and resilience. When you're an entrepreneur, your ability to stay focused and composed is a competitive advantage. Meditation is basically a daily workout for your brain's calm and focused muscles. Successful people use different mindfulness tools. Meditation is one, prayer is another, breathing exercise can work, or journaling. Oprah Winfrey, for example, starts her day with 20 minutes of meditation to center herself. Jack Dorsey, who's the co-founder of Twitter and Square, reportedly does meditation each morning at 5 a.m. to clear his mind. This isn't just hippie stuff. It's about getting your brain into peak operating condition. When you're calm and centered, you make smart decisions, not emotional, reactive ones. So here's your action step. Tomorrow morning, before diving into work, sit in silence for a few minutes. Focus on your breath or try a simple meditation app. If meditation isn't your thing, just try sitting with a notebook and writing down your thoughts or intentions. More on intentions soon. The goal is to quiet the mental chatter and sharpen your focus. In Built to Serve, I talk about finding your purpose. Sometimes you can't hear your purpose because your mind is too noisy. So morning mindfulness will help you listen to that inner voice and approach the day with clarity and confidence. Habit number 4, read and learn every morning. Billionaires are learning machines. They make feeding their mind a morning priority. So instead of scrolling social media or news fluff, they read books, articles, reports, anything that builds knowledge. Warren Buffett spends about 80% of his day reading and famously suggests aspiring entrepreneurs should read 500 pages a day. He says that's how knowledge builds up, like compound interest. Now, 500 pages daily might be extreme for you, but the point is never stop learning. Many of the top entrepreneurs use mornings for self-education. Bill Gates reads roughly 50 books per year, often devoting morning time to reading before work. Mark Cuban reads 3+ hours a day to gain any advantage that he can. Elon Musk has said that when people asked how he learned to build rockets, he simply answered, "I read books." Billionaires treat knowledge as the greatest asset they can accumulate. The average person might be content with browsing headlines. The billionaire devours information that can spark new ideas or improve their decision making. Now, you don't need hours each morning to read, but do try to read something useful each day. It could be a chapter of a nonfiction book that you're learning, an industry article, a biography of something you admire. Even 30 minutes every morning can set you apart. One study of rich versus poor habits found that 88% of wealthy people read at least 30 minutes a day for self-improvement. It's a habit that clearly correlates with success. Reading does two big things. It expands your knowledge and it inspires you by showing what's possible. You can effectively mentor under great people by reading their ideas and experiences every morning. So here is your action step. Pick a book or a learning resource, like YouTube, that aligns with your goals. Wake up, grab your coffee or tea or whatever you want to drink, and read before you jump into work mode. Make notes of any ideas that jump out and think about how to apply them to your business or your life. And over time, you'll notice that this habit not only increases your knowledge, but also puts you in a more inspired, motivated state to start the day. Feed your mind before you feed the world's demands. In a year, you'll have read dozens of books and your improved thinking will directly benefit your business. This is how you go to bed a little smarter each day, as Buffett says, by starting each morning as a student of success. Habit number 5, plan your day and prioritize. Billionaires don't wing it when it comes to their day. They take a few minutes each morning or the night before to plan and prioritize what needs to get done. Instead of reacting to whatever comes up, they proactively decide what their day will look like. This often means identifying the number one most important task for the day and tackling it first. As the old saying goes, if you have to eat a frog, eat it first thing in the morning. In other words, do your hardest, highest value tasks first while your energy and willpower are at their peak. Research backs up the power of planning. In Thomas Corley's study of rich habits, he found that 81% of wealthy people maintain a daily to-do list versus just 19% of low-income people. Not only that, 67% of those wealthy people complete 70% or more of their tasks each day. They write down what matters and they execute on it. Writing your plan forces you to clarify what's important. Remember, being busy is not the same as being productive. Billionaires focus on the few critical activities that drive their goals, not the trivial many. Jeff Bezos, for example, schedules his high IQ meetings at 10 a.m. while he's still fresh. He refuses to take meetings early in the morning so he can have time to think, plan, and get important work done, and even enjoys a relaxing breakfast with family before diving into Amazon business. Bezos said, "I do my high IQ meetings before lunch. Anything that's going to be really mentally challenging, that's a 10 o'clock meeting." He knows he's at his best in the morning. So he protects that time for critical work and decision making. By 5 p.m., as he says, his brain is tapped out. So he structures his day to make the big moves early. So here's your action step. Take 5 to 10 minutes each morning to map out your day. Write down your top 3 priorities. Do this before you get caught up in emails or fires. If you have a major task that could really move your business forward, schedule time in the morning to attack it. Planning doesn't mean every minute is fixed. It means you have a game plan and clear priorities. This will keep you from drifting and reacting all day. As you complete your important tasks, check them off. It builds momentum and confidence, and over time, this habit will make you incredibly effective. Remember, either you run the day or the day runs you. Billionaires run their day starting with a solid morning plan. Habit number 6, avoid morning distractions. That means no phone first. So here's a habit to not do. Don't grab your phone the moment you wake up. Seriously, the average person, about 80% of people, checks their phone within 10 minutes of waking up. That means most people start their day in reactive mode, scrolling through notifications and emails and social media and the news and other people's agendas. Billionaires break this common habit. They protect their morning focus like gold. So why is avoiding your phone so important? Attention. The first hour of your day sets the tone for the rest. If you immediately plunge into a flood of messages and emails, you're telling your brain to play defense all day. You're chasing, you're reacting, you're stressing. Instead, successful entrepreneurs use mornings for offense, their goals, their mindsets, their plan, as we've already covered. They know Twitter and email can wait until they've taken care of key morning habits. Exercise, planning, etc. By doing so, they stay in control. You own your morning instead of letting push notifications and inboxes own you. So think about it. When you wake up, your mind is relatively clear. If you fill it with a social feed or frantic work emails, you've essentially let 100 people in your bedroom shouting demands at you. Top performers often keep the phone on airplane mode or in another room until their morning routine is done. Arianna Huffington, as an example, not a billionaire, but a very successful founder, has spoken about banning devices from her morning routine to reduce stress. Even Oprah is known to avoid checking emails first thing. She'll spend her morning on meditation, exercise, and a good breakfast to ground herself. So here is your action step. Don't check your phone for at least the first 30 to 60 minutes after you wake up. If you currently use your phone as an alarm, consider getting a separate alarm clock or placing your phone across the room so you can't mindlessly reach for it in bed. Use that first hour for the habits we're talking about: exercise, reading, planning, etc. If you absolutely must see if an urgent message came in, scan briefly after you've done one positive activity for yourself. Trust me, the world will not implode if you wait to check Instagram or Slack. By avoiding digital distractions, you give yourself the gift of presence and focus each morning. This will make you far more productive when you do dive into work. It might feel tough at first, since phone checking is an addiction for many, but stick with it, because reclaiming those lost minutes of focus is game-changing. Your brain will thank you and your business will benefit from a more focused, strategic you each day. And habit number 7, cultivate gratitude and purpose. Billionaires often start their day by feeding their spirit and mindset, not just diving straight into work. This means practicing gratitude, visualization, or setting a clear intention for the day. It might sound a little touchy-feely, but this habit is about training your mind to be positive, resilient, and purpose-driven. When you're grateful and purpose-focused each morning, you carry that strength into everything that you do. Let's go back to Oprah Winfrey, for example. She has openly credited much of her joy and success to keeping a gratitude journal. In fact, Oprah kept a daily gratitude journal for a full decade, writing down 5 things she was grateful for each day. She says this practice changed her life profoundly. Why? Because it shifts your perspective to focus on abundance and opportunity. When you appreciate what you have appreciates in value. Gratitude literally rewires your brain to look for the good in situations, which is crucial for an entrepreneur facing daily challenges. Harvard researchers found that gratitude is strongly associated with greater happiness and health. It helps people feel more positive emotions, improves their health, and builds stronger relationships. Imagine starting every day feeling thankful and optimistic. Do you think you'd be more motivated and creative? Absolutely. Another powerful mindset habit is connecting with your purpose. Billionaires are often fueled by a big mission, not just money. Steve Jobs had a famous morning question he'd ask himself in the mirror. If today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I'm about to do today? If many days went by with the answer no, he took it as a sign to change something. Now, that's a pretty heavy question, but it instantly cuts through trivial worries and forces you to focus on what matters. It gave Jobs a daily dose of perspective and drive. You don't have to use his exact question, but find a morning thought or mantra that connects you to your why. The reason why you do what you do. In Built to Serve, I explained that when you find a purpose centered on serving others, it ignites you every day. So use your mornings to remind yourself of that purpose. Here's your action step. Before you launch into your busy schedule, take a few minutes for gratitude or intentional ritual. This could be as simple as thinking of 3 things that you're grateful for as soon as you wake up, or writing them down in your journal. Feel that appreciation. Then take a moment to visualize your goals or say an affirmation that aligns with your mission. For instance, you might say, I'm building a business that makes a difference, or whatever drives you. If you're spiritual, you might pray or meditate on your purpose. The key is to start your day heart first, not just head first. When you do this, you'll notice you approach your tasks with more enthusiasm and resilience. Challenges that come up during the day won't knock you down as easily because you've rooted yourself in gratitude and purpose at dawn. So, the 7 morning habits of billionaires. 1, wake up early. 2, exercise. 3, meditate. 4, read. 5, plan your day. 6, avoid distractions. And 7, practice gratitude and purpose. Now, you might be thinking, that's a lot to do every morning. Start with 1 habit at a time. Build it up. Consistency is more important than perfection. Even adopting a couple of these habits will give you a noticeable boost in your mood, your energy, and your productivity. The more you can stack together, the more powerful your morning routine becomes. Remember, morning routines set the foundation for your entire day. If you win the morning, you're far more likely to win the day. These habits are common among the ultra successful for a reason. They work. They prime your body and mind to be at your best. And as an entrepreneur, your business rises or falls based on your mindset, energy, and choices. By noon, a billionaire has often taken care of their health, fed their mind, knocked out a top priority, and centered themselves on what matters. Imagine how further ahead you'd be if you did the same thing starting tomorrow. No more excuses. You do have time for this. Remember, it can all start by waking up a little bit earlier and not letting your phone hijack your attention. Protect your morning for you and the growth of your dreams. And over time, these small habits compound into massive results. Like I say in my book, Momentum, success is built through steady momentum, and that momentum begins anew each morning. So now, it's your turn. Which habit will you adopt first? Commit to it. Make it part of your identity. I'm the type of person who blanks every morning. Keep going even if you stumble some days. The goal is progress, not perfection. Soon you'll notice you're more in control, more energized, and closer to your goals than ever before. This is how you join the ranks of the ultra successful, 1 morning at a time. So you've got this. Make your morning count, and you'll change the trajectory of your whole life. All that's left is to start. Get up, get going, and make your success routine a reality. Believe. To learn the science behind dramatically better conversations, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there. A single conversation could spark your next big partnership or close a life-changing deal. But if you sleepwalk through it, that opportunity vanishes.